everybody. It's good to see a full room right here. Welcome to 1MillionCups. If you don't know about 1MillionCups, we are backed by the Compliment Foundation from Kansas City. And our goal is to provide a safe environment for entrepreneurs to come here, present their companies, get feedback, and hopefully change their businesses. So today we have a very young company with Nikhil and Milan, LearnLink, and according to them, they're online, collaborative environment for students, and I'll let you guys take it from here. Everybody welcome Nikhil and Milan.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Nikhil Uppal, and this is my partner, Milan Chokshi. Thank you for coming at such an early hour of today for us to be part of our presentation on LearnLink Educational Technologies. Just as the name suggests, we are a company using technology to try to improve education. And what better people to do that than students themselves? We're both rising seniors at Johns Creek High School who had a vision for what we wanted to see in the classroom. So, we come from one of the most competitive areas in all of the Southeast. And with all this competition, it was hard to actually get a good education. We wanted to create something centered around the idea of collaboration between students instead of competition. So this gave us the idea of creating an online collaborative environment where students can buy or sell or share high-quality notes or high school prep books.
And just as Nikhil said, that's why we started to build LearnLink, to create a complete collaborative environment between students. So, and just like he said, we provide free notes for our students, which is actually the most popular product at our local high school. So our free notes allows a group of students to create notes for a particular subject. So let's take Nikhil and I, and let's say we love this class, honors biology, for example. It's actually not true, but we actually hate that class. We're more math people, I'm sorry. So let's say we have really good academic achieving in this class, which is still true. And let's say that, I don't know, we have great notes, we really understand the material and things like that. So LearnLink can approach us and say, hey, would you guys like to create notes for this particular subject? Now, actually, you guys might wonder, why would a student want to create notes for a random website for people to look and share live? And that's exactly what LearnLink is. It's completely live, and people can share these notes whenever they want to for free. And it's almost like artwork in a sense, right? When you see Pablo Picasso's famous artwork, you see his name right in the bottom right-hand corner, right? This is the same thing with these notes. When other students see their friends' names on these notes, like, wow, this kid is really smart. Oh, wow, this kid is, like, he's either or really dumb. I don't know. but for that matter, we have really high quality control that almost Nikhil and I, every single day when students are taking these notes, we check them over, we make sure they're accurate and up to the highest standard. We make sure that these students are not writing it as a professor, but as a student. And that's what really sets us apart. Because some of these teachers at a local high school talk like the professors, but we're like 15 to 17 years old. We don't understand a word that you're saying. So we write these notes in a manner they will understand. And then if a student doesn't want to work for free, we also have premium notes as well, where a student can list these notes online for our website, and hopefully it will sell in a later date. We obviously take a small commission out of each sale for revenue purposes. And lastly, we also offer high school prep books for each of our students. Well, you guys might wonder, why do high schools need more textbooks than they have now? Because a lot of these advanced placement courses, honors, and also the standardized tests such as the ACT and SAT require heavy amounts of studying and also high-end prep books. Companies like Barron's, Princeton Review, or even the College Board itself have a massive monopoly on these books, and it costs up to $30 per book, and sometimes students need multiple of them per year, running hundreds of dollars per year. And this is actually a huge problem, even though we live in Alpharetta, and even though we live in Johns Creek. We have students today that cannot afford these books, unfortunately. So these books are generally used, or even brand new, we sell for a very low price, not premium price.
So, we created this business, and you might have thought it was smooth sailing from there. But no, of course not. It was a failed business. A lot of what we created didn't seem to be working in our market. You'd think that Johns Creek, which is a pretty wealthy area, students would actually want to buy notes. That just wasn't the case. People liked the idea of the free notes, but didn't like anything else on the website. So we had to a little bit adapt to this. We thought of maybe we should do a subscription model where students can actually have a subscription, $9.99 a month, where they can pay for the free notes. We took a couple surveys through our website. No one wanted that. Everyone likes free. So we had to pivot our business to being completely free, pivoting to free. And so when we did this, we decided let's monetize with Google AdSense. That actually kind of worked for us very well. and we were actually finally able to break even. Yeah.
Even though we broke even.
Well, I'm not done. Okay. So yes, we were finally breaking even, and we had some great free services on the website. We needed something more, something that was so enticing that no student would not want to be using our website. So we created something brand new to the school, something called Class Chat. Now, Class Chat is a free service on the website where 100 students can host a call with, one teacher can host a call with over 100 students. This was a really big deal because, especially the night before a test, let's say, like, I don't know anything for a subject, you can just ask the teacher and they'll tell you everything. And you're on a call with 100 students, so you're collaborating. If you didn't even think of a question, they've thought of a question. So that collaboration was becoming a big deal. Our website was getting viewership like crazy. It was really, really an exciting experience, and our Google AdSense was going up. Just not enough, as Milan will say.
So the problem with Google
That's
AdSense is, well,
Yeah. Oh.
they want to make money too, right? And we want to make money too. Actually, I'll build off of Class Chat real quick. So the reason why Class Chat was so successful, so let's say you go to class one day, the day before a big test, and you have a review session, right? And most kids, we don't study the night, 2 days before a test, always the night before. We hope that adults don't procrastinate. Yeah, so you guys are laughing about that, so I guess not. But this will really allow students to really further understand the material. So actually right here, it's a real call that we had, I think, like 2 months ago, right before school ended during finals. This is one of the busiest seasons of the year. And basically this AP World History teacher, Miss Fitzpatrick, she was hosting a call with her students. I think it was like 70 students at a time. And then she was talking about spheres of influence in Japan. I don't know, something like that. And it was really cool because the students were typing live almost texting the teachers like, hey, what about this? What about this in world history? What about this? And it was really cool to see students really understand their material much better. And then just like Nikhil said, Google AdSense, well, like I said before, Google wants to make money too. But we need a source of revenue that's more consistent and that we can predict more. So that's why we actually partnered up with local education companies to put ads on our website. So we have full control over the price that we choose to put on the website. Now you guys might be wondering, why would you guys let these education companies put their ads on your website? It's kind of like letting letting Samsung to sell their phones on the Apple's website. That sounds kind of dumb, right? But actually these education companies offer a completely different product. They offer more tutoring services while we provide more collaborative learning spaces, which actually doesn't seem that different, but to the student it is a completely different ballgame. So like I said, we have complete control over these, the prices, but also we believe this is the most effective marketing for these companies because I've seen, for example, Mathnasium put an ad on TV a few weeks ago, and I'm sitting there watching TV like, why do I care about Mathnasium when I'm watching TV? If I'm watching TV, I'm not thinking about school. That's the reason I'm watching TV. I don't care about homework when I'm watching TV. So if you're on LearnLink and you say Mathnasium ad, if you need help with math, that is where they can drive the most sales. When students are in desperate need and they can sign up with the desperate measure as well.
Yeah. So that was the first way that we started to expand our business. The second way is actually franchising our business to other schools. This was a big deal. So just think about the way LearnLink works. It's not like Quizlet, it's not like CliffNotes, it's not like SparkNotes. It's actually centered around the community at the school, right? Let's say I'm taking honors chemistry at my school. The course is going to be taught very differently than it's taught at another school. So that was the way we franchised our business, was actually taking our way of doing this at one school and changing it just a little bit to be part of the course load at another school. So I'll give you an example. Franchising. We started our first franchise, and we're actually doing this right now at Alpharetta High School. LearnLink AHS is starting up in 30 days. We've been partnering with staff and students to get the marketing done at that school and getting the brand of LearnLink in people's minds. It's a big deal because the free notes are getting actually modified just for that subject. And we also have Class Chat where teachers are actually planning to do calls. So that's the franchising part of our business and how we're planning to expand. But you might be thinking at the end of this presentation, what's the point in this presentation? We're just telling you just a little bit about our business. We don't need much financial help or anything like that. At the end of the day, we're with a bunch of professionals, and we're just 17-year-olds.
Oh, 18 soon.
29 days.
Stay young.
I got 6 months. Yeah. And so we're in a room with a bunch of professionals who have expertise in this sort of stuff. We have no clue on some sorts of when it comes to LLCs and all that stuff. We were planning to actually ask for any advice you may be able to give us. That's about it. That's our presentation. Thank you.
Questions, comments, suggestions?
Yes, sir.
We do that. I need inspiration every day. And when I come in here and I see fellows like you, young, 17 in high school, and I think to myself, why didn't I start a business when I was 17? So it's inspiring to know that there are young men like yourself that are out there starting your own business and admitting, hey, I don't know where to start, because that's how I started my business. So my feedback is more just congratulations, fellas. This is a great. It's just an honor to be with people like yourself, two young men that are willing to take a risk and to do something out of the box. So it's very inspiring to me. I don't really have a lot of feedback because you're just starting out, you're green, you're new, but I just want you to know that you're an inspiration to me.
Thank you so much. That's
Thank you.
so much. To us.
It's awesome. I love it. Thank you for coming.
Yes, question in the back.
So I'm actually not a professional. I'm also a high school kid. Surprise, surprise. I have a question, two questions actually. How many schools do you have in your little thing?
So our franchising is actually just starting. It's part of our new part of expansion. So we're actually starting to build ads with C2 Education and other companies, as well as franchising. So right now we are at Johns Creek and we're doing pretty successfully there. But a business model isn't really secure if it's not able to work anywhere. So we're figuring out the market of Alpharetta, Northview, and all these schools. Alpharetta specifically, we've actually partnered with students and staff, and in 30 days there'll be a big launch of that business there.
Could you by any chance do something at Lassiter? Because I know plenty of kids that stuff like that.
We do have a couple connections at Lassiter, but we're still trying to see how the franchising model will work at Alpharetta, and of course, after we test that, we'll tweak it and make it even better for when we move to Lassiter.
Also, the big thing with us is we're trying to stay within Fulton County schools right now. I think Lassiter's in Cobb County, if I remember. Yeah. So Fulton County, Cobb County, completely different systems. We have to adapt to that later on, in a later date, which is actually pretty daunting for us. But we have big plans for expansion in the future. But even though you're at Lassiter, you can still use LearnLinkJC.com or AHS.com, because if you take AP classes, it's standard no matter where you take. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you take AP classes in Alaska versus Florida, same thing. So you still use those notes online, absolutely.
Cool.
Yes.
Very, very good presentation. I'm still trying to wrap my head around two teenagers in suits. Very good presentation. I love how you started out with the backstory about you, how y'all came up with this kind of stuff. That was very good, very professional, articulate, very clear, your business model. I like that you said we tried this and it didn't work, we had to go back over here. That shows a grasp of reality, as opposed to this is wonderful, it's going to work forever. And it's one of the better presentations I've seen lately. I think the idea of the other learning company, the tutoring companies, that's a great synergy because, as you pointed out, they're the specifics and heavyweights. You're giving them the light knowledge, and if they need to, they can do the heavy lifting, and I like that. Steve Miller, who was one of our founders here of 1MillionCups, he specializes in franchising, so I suspect we can probably tap into him and get him some knowledge there. I like the idea of the I call it mass customization. You know, a franchise, it does basically this, but it can be tailored and configured for the others. That's very important to be able to do that, to go to other markets there. A question I have is, in the AP classes, from what I understand, it is so hyper competitive that I'm really kind of surprised that people would want to share when there's 200 people between the valedictorian and you, and it's 0.2 of a grade point. Can you elaborate upon the willingness of people to share?
So when it comes to free notes you're talking about?
Yeah.
So when it comes to our free notes and collaboration, the way that we actually started it off was actually getting people to do volunteer hours, since that's a big deal nowadays, right? Students have to do 200, 300 volunteer hours for just schools and to get into college, right? So that competition for volunteer hours helped students really get enticed to actually make these free notes. And then everyone can collaborate together, and it was just a good ecosystem from there.
That's very, very smart.
Yeah, but also
Absolutely.
Yeah, build on that also. But if you can't compete with them, join them in a sense, right? Like Apple and Samsung trying to compete with them for such a long time, but almost to the point where it's almost the cusp where like you might see Apple and Samsung join together on something because they can't just keep competing with each other at that point. Like if Nikhil and I have competing grades, and we both realize this ourselves, that we can't just keep competing with each other for like, oh, I got 95 in that last test, haha, I got 97, right? We just can't keep doing that because at some point, not only to break the friendship between people, but it just won't make education a better place to learn, and that's the whole goal. Make the classroom a better place to learn, not to compete.
At the end of the day, education hasn't changed in 100 years. It was built during the times where people were getting working class jobs. You have class A, class B, like that. We want to add, because in the new world, it's all collaboration, the age of the internet. We want to actually bring that to the classroom ourselves.
I think this has an opportunity, I don't know if I shut up. I think it's an opportunity for the repurposing of the job market where people are worried about automation, displacing jobs, people having to get whole new, grown-ups and everything, having to go to new industries. This could go into that, and also the trade school approach. I'm not gonna go compete with, I'm gonna go be a welding guy, I'm gonna be plumber, and all the new market that's out there, micro jobs and all that. This kind of thing would work really well for the trade schools as well, for people to be able to learn and do that. So you have another whole industry other than the AP, college, high school kids kind of stuff. So I think there's an opportunity for really taking this in a big way. Well done.
Yeah. I really appreciate a lot what was said here. Your self-startedness, your entrepreneurial nature. That's really encouraging for, I think, all of us here to see. But I have a question to ask as a parent.
Yes.
And that your users and your customers seem to be different. Your users are students. Customers seem to be a much more varied group. So, as a parent, how do you deal with lazy users who don't necessarily want to study or even look at notes? How do you encourage them to use your system?
So we do come from a pretty competitive area, right? Being lazy is very difficult in our day and age because if you are, you're just not going to be able to be competitive. And that's very important. So especially right now, we're not experiencing any problem with lazy people because we're in such a competitive area that people just need to study and to do well, and our classes are not any easier. I guess there's one thing I can say. We have athletes, right, who love to just skip class, go to their trips everywhere and stuff like that. We do tailor to them because if they're not able to take notes themselves, they don't show up to class. They're able to read these notes later on and then go back into their tests and actually do well on them. So that's how we're tailoring to that group as well.
You have to build off of that as well. So a big reason why students are lazy is because, like I said before, some of these teachers teach like at the professor level, the master's degree. Some even have PhDs in some areas, and they don't care. They don't care they're high school students, and they don't care that we can't comprehend them. So students are too lazy to try to comprehend what the teacher said. So when they take those notes, they're like, what does it mean by X, Y, Z? What does it mean by this? And I don't want to go to my teacher and ask him because I'm gonna get embarrassed in front of my whole class and like all that sort of stuff, right? So this allows students to not be lazy actually, because they can just go on here and just read everything and learn exactly what they want to know right away.
So why go to class?
Well, then go to class at that point because well,
I'm
That's just for a test.
I just want to let you know, and this is an argument that I had several years ago with.
Oh right, this is not a simple. This is not replacing class. No means, absolutely not. We just want to make learning easier, but not completely like, oh, I'm done, right? Like we don't want to do that at all. Actually, that was a concern with administration at our school. We were open about that. They're like, why would students want to come to class at that point? We designed our system in the sense that students have to come to class to get questions answered. And our notes are designed in the sense that they have to ask questions and things like that. So.
We have Tom right here.
Yeah, a few things first. Great presentation. I would echo the comments made before. One thing, I'd stay away from the word franchising now. What you're really doing is replicating. Okay, and the big difference is franchise implies that somebody else is going to do all this. Okay, right now you're replicating. Your youth is a major advantage, but it's also a major disadvantage. Older people like me have a hard time learning where that's all you do. as a youngster. Okay, so the problem is every day you're learning, and it's going up here, but it's not going down here. Okay, so what you guys should do is literally every day take 5 minutes to say, what did I learn today? What was the objections I heard today? Write those notes down, because when you do start franchising this or going to other people and say you should implement this, they don't have your body of knowledge. Okay, so you need to write that stuff. I mean, just the trivial things like you do it like an FAQ. You know, for example, like why doesn't this? Why do you not discourage kids from going to class? You know, what's the answer to that? So start writing that stuff down. The other thing you need is a business advisor that's not in the education system. So don't talk to your teachers, your school administrators. You need somebody from the business world that will help you, because figure out, because if you want to franchise this, you have a very, very strong business model that works. Okay, and so you need to start getting some advice from a business advisor aside from the education system, somebody from the outside looking in, because they'll ask all the quote, stupid questions that an educator would know, but a businessman wouldn't. So I'm very, very impressed. I've been sitting here for 2.5 years going through these presentations, and this is certainly one of the top ones I've heard. So
Yep.
Good job.
Great job, fellas.
Thank you.
Awesome job. You set the tone, telling the problem, and most of the people sitting in here can relate to their own family members. I agree with the gentleman who just said about the franchise, just stay away from that one. But in addition to that, I would like you to think, your primary customers are the students, and your also secondary customers are also the schools, right? Over a period of time, the success of your business is not how many people are, participating in that online chat or whatever it is, but also over a period of time, how is their grades changing? Because the schools are competing in the North Fulton from each other, right?
Yeah.
They're also striving towards making their school to be better so that they get more funding. So I don't know how you can do it, but you guys are genius, but try to figure it out as to over a period of time how your business model is helping the schools as well as the students to do better from their own perspective. So that way that becomes your measure of the success, not how many people are franchising or not how many people are doing the advertisement. Yes, those are the measures to figure out your success, but also the thing is that the grades and also the school performance also is also equally important.
So actually I can build off of that. So what I said before, Ms. Fitzpatrick, she was doing these class chat calls. She gets students to tell her all the time, do more of these. I love this so much, do more. And also our school has a 2023 vision where they want to implement these certain aspects of education, like these leading new aspects of education into our local high school. And one of them is more collaborative learning. So we actually approached our local admin at our local high school and say, hey, this is our product. We believe that this will help you go to your 2023 vision, right? That this is like candy to them. Like, oh, thank God, they're doing the work for us, essentially. So that's what we believe, that not only we have like over 2,000 students that actually use our service, but we've seen 20% grades increase within students from our research alone. So.
Who use our product.
Yeah, who use our
I'll go Terry.
I think, great job guys, thanks for coming. I think one of the on-tap market you may want to consider, I think homeschool may be a good customer for you guys. And this is just, I guess, me, is think about different kind of vision and hope is that you guys will also give more an opportunity for inner city school. I think making that playing field a little bit more even, this could be an avenue where I think you should focus on competitive, where it's you guys, the customers are easy to work with you guys and on board, but the challenges with the athletes that you guys mentioned.
So we are in pretty competitive schools right now, right? So we have free notes in there where students are actually building these things, as well as class chat calls where teachers are doing. All of those are actually recorded, so anyone from an inner city school could actually go back and view any of the content on the website if they're having trouble. And most of the content is free. We just have advertising.
Yeah. So I think it will be a different kind of playing field. Inner city versus here is very, very different. So I guess that could be one of the vision or the ways that you guys give back to the community when you guys are successful.
We're at the only thing that we are kind of battling is some schools, not in our area, but we understand don't have internet. So we need to figure out how to get students internet first so that they can use our online platform. It's a big deal for us.
Doug right here.
So I got to say, one of the best presentations I've seen here. And somebody that has this experience, being with a startup company that we were doing something similar to this, but more of a platform, similar to LinkedIn for students, dealing with colleges, dealing with two-year tech schools. You guys have an amazing opportunity here. And again, some other people might, I agree with everybody's talking about, I wouldn't look at franchising because you're putting in the hands of other people to try to duplicate what you know. That's almost impossible. It's different if you have a restaurant and you go, okay, this is the platform, you're gonna do ABC. There's so much opportunity, you guys already didn't know it. Just stuff we were working on. One of the things, and I won't get into the whole thing, but it was taking students being mentors and building it so they can mentor other students. So you have an opportunity to mentor students at a lot of different levels. So you have students that are right where you guys are at that need to share notes, but you got students that are right there that have intelligence that just are not getting the right information because they're not understanding who's presenting it to them. And I think this would, you're gonna blow the door, if you do it right, you're gonna blow the doors off of education. Because mentoring is one of the best ways for students to learn. They're gonna learn so much more from you guys and people you guys are associated with than they would anybody else. Somebody with a master's degree.
Part of the reason that so I'm just going to talk about a little bit about the franchising model for us. Part of the reason that we were trying to partner with students in the other schools was because we don't know those schools very well. They have a different culture than our school. So I get where you're at on that. So I think the best, I don't know if this is the best way, we work with them completely to actually like.
Well, you could still do that. So I would say, you know, I'd love to meet with you guys. I got some people already in mind I'd love to introduce you guys to. I think there's a way to tie this into the schools, and yeah, you're right, stay with Fulton County till you get a proof of concept to a certain point. But it would be so easy to adapt in other schools, and you can open doors by working with the inner city kids, mentoring them, and you would then target the other students. Because again, this is, you got something here, and I think it's cool that the students are doing it because it gives it a lot more depth and weight than an old codger like myself walking in the door saying this is what we're going to do. But great presentation. There's a lot of things you can do with this, and I'm excited for you guys. So I'd love to meet with you guys afterwards if we could.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you.
I'm going to take you down a peg instead of bragging on it. Just keep working on your presentation. You can get better, right? Everybody else telling how great it is. But I just want to echo something that Tom said real quick, that you really ought to try writing down as much of the notes and the stuff you're learning. Just, you can Google it. The psychology and the emotional aspect of writing your notes and reading what you wrote, you can reconnect to that and learn better. I hope you're doing that in your classes too. Don't just rely on the videos to watch later and the recorded notes. Please write stuff down if that'll help you out. But I've heard people talk about customers a lot. I'm specifically on the sales side for growing enterprise sales, and you need to think about the value proposition you have because you've got a two-sided business model. You've got to understand your customer that's creating the raw materials to grow your community. So you have to create something of value for the students who are coming in for free to give of their service. So you've got to provide value that direction, but also from that community, you've got to be creating something that's valuable to your paying sponsors. So you've got a two-sided business model, and you've got to have someone that understands sales and marketing in that aspect so you can market to both of them simultaneously, providing value in two directions. So think about that two-sided business model. There's been some debate in the room already about who your customer is. It's both. So you're going to have to actually plan and build and write in writing what your business plan and your strategies are to provide value to both sides, because one feeds the other. You have to provide food for both.
We have Ian and then
one quick question I had for you guys. How are you compensating the teachers? I'm seeing a platform where the teachers are, especially with your Dave
That's a
test,
good
or
question.
have an online answer for students.
So when it comes to compensating teachers, we haven't really thought of a way to compensate them. Technically, this is Fulton County policy. You're not allowed to get paid for teaching your own students off hours. So teachers do it for free because they're helping the grades of students, of course. But we're seeing that a lot of teachers are kind of lazy too. They don't feel like doing this. And so we're actually taking the students who are making the free notes, who are really good at these subjects, and making them do class shot calls where they can actually talk to these students themselves and host over 100 students. And they'll do it for volunteer hours. Very easy for us to document those volunteer hours since it's an hour-long call. And it's working out, that will work out pretty well.
Okay. All right. As a former teacher, like this last year in Fulton County, this is amazing.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Should I get busted? I don't know, dude.
You're changing the game. I was a biology teacher in high school, and
Oh boy. We love your subject.
So
We're sorry.
It's too late now.
Mitochondria is a power up.
There's two sides to this thing, because as a teacher, I'm thinking, all right, kids are gonna find a loophole to cheat. You know what I mean? So like, what are the safeguards that you guys have in place for that? Because they're gonna figure it out.
Okay,
You
so
guys are gonna figure out. They've already figured out there are ways that they can communicate, use it as a live way to cheat. Because what happens with my class is like, if I have a class at 8 a.m., chances are my 10 o'clock class has an idea of what's going on.
Very good.
But
yeah.
they're gonna figure it out even more, and it's gonna spread a little bit faster with the live link because they're not gonna use it the way that you've designed it to, but they'll find a back way to just get the information. that
So
they
we
want.
experience the same problem in our school where students who take the test at 8 o'clock tell all the answers, which is really stupid, to the kids who take it at 10 o'clock. And the biggest it makes no sense to us to a certain extent why, but at the same time, 10 o'clock students are very convincing and they can probably ask for the answers and stuff like that. A lot of our teachers, especially in our competitive school, will change the tests per class period, but at the same time, that's kind of silly because those tests are not leveled the same sometimes. So the battle for cheating is a very difficult thing that we don't know how to, I guess,
So pretty much what I think is like, if everything is recorded, that information can go to admin and there can be like consequences.
Yeah. So I guess the only way you can cheat with notes is if after you take the test, you go through the content guide and you highlight everything you need to know. But, I mean, students don't do that. First of all, we do control the collaboration that gets on the website. We actually have to, if some random student has a suggestion, we have to say, okay, this is a good one. Only the students who get at the top of the class who are actually making the free notes are able to just edit seamlessly the content guides. So those students typically aren't cheater types. They're the ones who are kind of introverted, don't talk to anyone and that stuff.
I got the second half to it. So the other thing that Fulton County has is this thing called Launchpad.
Yes. So you have to get on the Fulton County Marketplace to get on Launchpad.
Alright, so there's actually an easy way for you guys to get in there. Most Fulton County school has a program called Vanguard. And what that is a group of teachers that are a part of the tech environment in Fulton County School that pick these programs to put inside of like Launchpad and all the other schools. So the game is not necessarily at the school level. The game is at the district level.
We already tried that actually. Our media center specialist, Miss Ford, she shot us down immediately. She's like, no.
No, but it's the Vanguard, so you don't really have to go through.
Yeah, she's a part of the Vanguard group, right? She has Vanguard in her signature email. She talks about it all the time.
Yeah.
We try again the school website. They're like, you guys are a student run. It's a for-profit business, so you guys are out. And they also have really a lot of security concerns. You can be compliant with GDPR and all those new regulations that are out there. They just don't want to listen to us.
But here's the deal.
Yeah.
You're going to hear no 5,000 times.
Yeah.
Okay, until you're yes. So you got to keep trying. He's saying to you, keep going, keep
A
going.
new person,
keep
you
going.
can go look for a new
Not
person.
only I'm saying go beyond that school level because the Vanguard leagues have something called a kickoff. And at the kickoff, you can present.
No.
You know, so it's not necessarily to say, okay, I'm going to take a note from my school. There are hundreds of teachers. I think when I went last year, there was like almost 200 people down at Georgia Tech, and they presented their software. And all it takes is one person or two people in that room to let it catch on, and then they'll push it to each other as teachers because they feel there's value, and if it saves teachers time, which I think that's what you guys can do, is if you can save the time in which a teacher can take to educate the classroom, they'll buy in. You know, so I would still keep pushing, go to that Vanguard level. push those limits.
Do you know when that presentation is? Or
I know there's if you can ask your teacher or email her, say, when's the next Vanguard kickoff? Before
That'd be really weird, dude.
or go
Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely.
I'll find it.
Alright.
We'll text you.
Here,
Yeah,
really.
Find
Thank
the
you.
Vanguard page. I'll give you the page, and
They need an invitation. You can have.
you can talk your way through these things, man. These
Yeah.
are complicated,
we'll figure it out.
So I've been in the classroom too, and all of the points about that are correct. I applaud you for coming in front of professionals at your age. It's not easy. You know, so again, congrats to that. I just want to hear a little bit more on the skeptical side on what some of the administrators. I understand with the students, 'cause I've been there. I understand some of them are really going to love this, and some of them are just going to try to, you know, I'm not going to really do anything in class. All of a sudden, I'll catch up. But I'm just curious. You know, even your principal. Like, what are some of the things? Why are they allowing you to even have this? I know you're getting some no's. You got it from your media center specialist, and that's fine. You know, but why does your
funny.
principal say yes, let's go, and all these other principals, no problem, we'll do this.
So we went and we talked to our media specialist. We were just letting them know about it, and she reported it to our admin. Next thing I know, I'm sitting in the principal's office, and I'm like, cool.
I got lucky.
He's at home.
I'm at home.
And I'm just sitting in the principal's office, and they're like, what is this? They had printed every single page of the website because technology, they don't understand it. Every single page was on a piece of paper, and they were showing it to me. It's like, what is this? This was like the first week of school. So, and this is when we were launched, right? So I was like, okay, this is interesting. And so this was mostly because we had premium notes on the website. People thought that we would, because this is a big problem with cheating at our school. They would take tests. They would literally put those on the website.
Yeah.
And so we were like, okay, we don't do this. But yeah, what we did is we literally gave them like a secret code so they can take anything off the website themselves. And so they have full control over that part of the website and that stuff. So they can just see, okay, let's see what's going on here. So teachers kind of, or actually the principal admin were like, okay, then we at least have some sort of like, they can see it.
On past the principal level, on the associate superintendent, Cliff Jones, who represents your area. I mean, have you spoken to people like him? Is he aware of this? I mean, did your principal say, here's what we're doing? I mean, because they have to make them aware of what's going on at their schools. Are they aware of it? Because I know it speaks to, going above. You don't want to go too far above, but you're able to do that since you're school.
Since we are technically just at our school and we haven't done anything else, our principal has said is fine with it, and he's seeing that it's improving to a certain extent. Our lowest scores in all is EOC Physical Science, where we have the worst scores in all of our school. So we told the principal that we have a content guide of free notes for students who can use that. And the principal was very excited because he wanted those scores to go up. So that was the enticing factor to actually get students or the admin into using our platform. And so our school was fine with that.
But on the Alpharetta thing, that'll work. Once that works, that's good. Then again, reach out to somebody like Cliff Jones and say, look, it's working at our school. It's now working at Alpharetta. How can we spread the wealth in the entire county?
Rania?
I had a question. I'm not an entrepreneur. I haven't done this before, but I do work with a number of franchises, and so I kind of question how your business plan is going to work as you continue to monetize it. That if you do stick with the franchise platform, typically the way that works is you'll sell a business plan basically to somebody in a different school. They'll take that on and then they'll pay you guys back a royalty. Sounds pretty labor intensive. You keep saying we monitor it, we monitor it, we monitor
Yeah.
it. Maybe AI is doing that. Maybe you guys are actually spending countless hours a week. How, you don't have to answer this in front of the day, but it's something to think about. But how is the person you sell that to is now going to be the franchisor? How are they going to make money? What's the incentive for them to give you guys $30,000 and then 5%? 5% of what? But
yeah, that's actually a very good question.
Because it sounds like a full-time job for somebody at that school.
Yeah. We have to think about that. Yeah.
Well,
I guess one of these things like C2 education is in Johns Creek, C2 is in Alpharetta, and all these other areas. There's a C2 in very different locations, as well as Mathnasium, Kumon, all these different places. So Alpharetta has their own signature amount of tutoring centers that students go to, and Johns Creek has. So Alpharetta students, the people who start it, will sell straight to that, or we can help them sell to those advertisers, and we sell to our own advertisers, making our own like different networks of advertising through those different tutoring centers, as well as like even Starbucks, right? That's right next to our school. Students go there to study and stuff like that. Or there's like a Maji tea place. Students will go to all these different places to study. Regal, all these places, they want to target students. Our website is the perfect place to just get that in their minds.
We have time for one more question. I saw Craig.
Somebody knew if anybody else.
If anybody new wants to ask a question, if not, I'm going to give to Craig because he raised the hand first. So.
I'm in. All right. Anybody else? All right, fellas, so I'm going to switch gears on you for a second, okay? I mean, first, let me say one thing. You need to do a little bit of research on franchising because I don't think franchising may not be the right way to go. So what Tom said is you might want to look at franchising a little different, okay? So I need you to take some time to think about and research franchising. But that's not what I want to bring up. When I started my business with my best friend. He is no longer my best friend. We no longer communicate, okay? So my point to you fellas, if you guys are good friends, with success, with money, with power, you will have struggles. So my thing is you need to identify as partners what those are and really be transparent, okay? Because in my case, I'm heartbroken that I lost my best friend because our business was successful and things didn't go right and we weren't transparent, okay? So you have this great business model, this great idea, success, it's exciting, but there's like I've told you this when I first told you, there's a human component, okay? There's a human element to this. Just be transparent. Make sure that you guys obviously get a mentor, somebody that's a business mentor that will help you, but when you're partners, money changes things, okay? What I've learned in business is you learn the good, you learn the bad, and then you learn the ugly. Okay, and I've seen the ugly, and ugly is ugly, okay? So you guys are friends, you're young, just keep that in mind when you're growing your business, that you guys are tight in every regards and that you're transparent and everything's on the table, okay? So that's my advice to you because you have a great business model, you guys are exciting, inspiring, but there is that ugly component that plays a factor when you're in business.
Thank you.
Okay, so as the community, I get the last question. What can we do to help you guys? How can we help you guys grow, improve? Is there anything we can do for you?
I'm sorry, what was your name again? Yes. Yes, so he had a connection with Vanguard, but he really wanted to get his name.
So if you guys have any referrals, I don't know.
Yeah, referrals too.
Yeah.
Make sure you
Anybody that you can connect to help them out, please do so. Is that what you guys?
Yeah, so we're saying after. So if you guys want to talk to us, please, one-on-one, please do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna stick here for a while. So you people that didn't have the chance to ask again, make sure that you reach out to them and get those questions. And actually, I want to congratulate you guys. To be honest, after a couple presentations that we had this year, I think this was the best one so far.
Yep. Great job,
Like
fellas.
this gave us a breath of fresh air.
Amen.
And I'm serious. I'm not saying today just because you guys are young and then I want to like motivate you guys, but it truly was one of the best presentations I've ever seen. It was very genuine. It was nice to see young people trying to change the system and help other students. So keep going. I hope that all the feedback given here can affect your business in a positive way, and that you can take a lot of the learnings that you have here and apply to your business. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Good job, fellas.